Hi everyone, this is Ashley with CT Media Digitals. I'm going to do a tutorial to show you how to use my new wet glass backdrop overlays in Photoshop. I have open a few images that I'm going to do for samples. I have open an overlay here, but I'm going to show you how to use a different method to apply them to your backdrop too that's a little bit easier. You can go ahead and copy and paste the overlays into your image. If I just have this open and I select all, edit, copy, and edit and paste into my image, I can use it this way. You are going to have to change the blending mode to screen. I will start out by saying that every overlay is not going to work for every single image. You're going to have to play around with them and tweak your settings a little bit to get them to fit your image. I do have a variety of different ones for that reason. I was just showing how to do this. I'm not going to use this overlay for this image, but if you wanted to just open and copy and paste, you can do that. And then you can, but you also can add them to your image by using your place embedded options, which is what I prefer to do. So I'm going to go to my image, go up to File, and Place Embedded. You're going to navigate to the folder on your PC where you have your overlays saved, and then choose which overlay you think you want to use. So I have some black and white ones in here. I have some with a little bit of a tinge of like a blue hue on them. Some of them have more color with the bokeh. They're pretty versatile. There's a lot of different options. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on just any of them first. And then I'm going to change that blending mode to screen. And now when you're working with water droplets, you actually want the highlight of those water droplets to be on the opposite side of the side that your light is coming through. So, and this is flipped. So I'm going to just go ahead and select that overlay, right click, and flip horizontal. And now as you can see the light's coming from over here on the left. It would be coming through the water droplet and it would be reflecting over here on the opposite side. So now if I didn't want this one looks good. I would have to tweak a little bit, but if you wanted to switch between and go between different ones, you could just right click on that layer and replace contents and just simply pick a different overlay. And it's already going to be on screen mode for you since that last one was too. Okay, so I can just work with this one since I have it here now. Playing with your adjustments. Now you could just leave it like this. It depends on what kind of style and edit you're going for. But you can also add different adjustment layers to help to get rid of some of this white overlay on her face. If you wanted to get rid of this big bokeh right here because it's too distracting, I could add a curves adjustment layer and make sure you click that box right there. That's your clipping mask. It's going to be make sure that you're only working on your overlay and not your subject layer. I'm going to drag that down a little bit, and that's just going to make it a little bit deeper. It's going to take away more of that white hue, but you can still see the water droplets and the bokeh in here. You can grab the overlay and you can move it around anywhere you want. Say I want to keep everything, but I kind of want to off her face a little bit more. I can put it over here on the image. The great thing about the water drops on glass is the water doesn't have to be everywhere on the glass, so it doesn't have to cover the whole image to look realistic. Now, there's going to be a line right here from my overlay, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a layer mask. Use a black brush, a larger one so I can feather it a little bit more at 100% opacity, and I'm just going to brush off that white line. I'm also going to lower my opacity and then brush it off her face a little bit more. If you don't want that bokeh right there, which I wouldn't, I would delete that. And now this is a really pretty subtle overlay for this image. If you didn't want the color, you would simply just have to, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to merge these two layers. Now that I'm done with that, you are going to have to change your blending mode back to screen once you do that. Add a black and white layer, and then go ahead and merge that black and white layer and your curves layer back to screen, and now there's no color to it. It can just be like a regular water drop. I sometimes like to have a pop of color, so I would probably keep that color in there. And now if you wanted to kind of switch between overlays with that brushed off, you could do that too. I don't really suggest doing that because you may want to keep other parts of that image. So if you're going to switch between your overlays, do it before you do any adjustments. You also, since I merged these layers, this is not going to be a smart object anymore. So I could just right click, convert to smart object, right click, and then replace contents and switch between them. But like I said, you may want, it's going to throw it off because we already did some adjustments to it. Okay, so that one I would like for that image. Next one, so I do have some horizontal ones in the collection. So I'm going to go up and go ahead and go to File, Place Embedded. I do have some horizontal ones. You probably could make a vertical one work. You would just have to, it wouldn't take up every part of your image. Let's see, change this to screen. If you wanted to do just do like a partial part of your image with the, like this would work. I would bring down my curves just a little bit, get rid of some of that white spots on there, create that layer mask, and then brush off this part over here. So that would just be like the water was reflecting water on this part of the glass if there was glass in front of you and you were shooting through it. But I do have some horizontal ones in there. I'm going to go ahead and place embedded again. I'm going to choose this one. This has got some pretty yellows in it. Screen blending mode. And then I would go ahead and drag this just so it's not on her face as much. Again, I'd probably grab my curves. You could leave all that white reflection in there, but I'd bring it down just a little bit. Create that layer mask to brush off the bottom half of that. And then you could lower your opacity just some and make it not as noticeable on her face. And now I think that looks good. I could leave that there. Let me make sure my light's coming. My light looks good. Actually, let me see here. It might look better if I flip it. Oops. Didn't mean to do it vertical. I meant to do it horizontal. Okay, that actually looks a little, yeah, I like it the other way. Like I said, you're just gonna have to play around with it. And now if you wanted to add more, you could add a completely different, go up to your, click on your top layer, place embedded again. If you wanted to play around with different layers here and add, I don't really like that one for that image. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but yeah, that doesn't really match for that one. That's what I mean. Like, for every one isn't going to match for the same as others. Bring down my curves here. Create a layer mask on that one. And brush off those edges. Had a little bit of a different water effect there. I don't really like that one either for this image, but you can play around with different ones. Let's try this one and then we'll brush it off. I kind of want to try to match these, the ones I already have going, so it looks a little bit more realistic here. Bring down my curves. Create that layer mask. Brush off my edges here. There we go. I think that needs flipped there. Okay. Kids are playing outside. You might be able to hear them. Come back to that layer mask. Okay, and then brush off. So you can add as many, obviously add as many different overlays to one image as you want, but I like that yellow one, or the one with the yellow bokeh up there for this image. I would probably not use any more and just use that one. It adds a cool effect. Okay, so now I do have some, I'm going to delete that one that I copied and pasted on there. I do have some steamy ones on there too. Go ahead and place it, file, place embedded. I have some ones with steam. Go ahead and flip that because the water's, or the light's coming from the same direction now. Hope I put that on soft light. I didn't need to do that screen. Okay, go up to curve, or over to curves. Create that clipping mask. Drag down. And now these are the ones where I would kind of flip between different ones to see which ones I liked better. Ooh, I like that one. I think I like that one for this image. Let's see if I bring down levels a little bit more. Just play around with different, there we go. Different adjustment layers to get it how I want it. I might brush off, create a layer mask, brush off this part over here because I kind of just like this part of it. I like that. I would leave that as is. And now another thing you can do, if you want to kind of add, like I left color in this one, you can add a hue saturation layer, create that clipping mask, and you can slide your hue to kind of get different. Say you had like a shower image that had more pink tones in it or more green tones in it, you could play around with the reflection of the color of the reflection to add a different aspect to your image that way too. If we could do it to this one, oops, could play around with the different colors of those ones too. I wouldn't want to change the color of that one though because it matched kind of perfectly. But yes, you can switch between, see what works best for your image, make sure you change that blending mode to screen, and then play around with your adjustment layers to get it to work. I use levels, or curves, I'm sorry, most often because that kind of gives me what I want. Curves and contrast can help you a lot in bringing down, up and down your highlights and your shadows to kind of get the effect that you want, and then obviously creating that layer mask to brush on and off the overlay. If you have any questions, you can send me a message. If you are a studio photographer, I would love for you to join my group on Facebook. I will link it in the description. Also, if you're wanting extra free helpful video tutorials, I have lots on my YouTube channel. I'll also link that in the description.